said. I think I'm right, but time will prove that. Time will prove me right, probably. I think Iran is a threat. I think it's a very big threat. And I think I did a great thing when I terminated the ridiculous Iran nuclear deal. It was a horrible one-sided deal that was $150 billion plus $1.8 billion in cash and lots of other bad things. If you remember, they took our 10 sailors out of waters that people are disputing and made us look very bad. But of course, the payment was due the following day, so they eventually let them go, which they had to. I disagree very much on that. I also think, and you'll be seeing something next week, because you look at what's happened in Syria with respect to ISIS and the caliphate. We took over a lot of area in the last 2 weeks. We've done tremendous in the last couple of weeks. At the same time, we're consolidating, and a tremendous amount of good things are happening. You even look at what's going on, and I can't tell you that this is a guarantee, because we're going into close to 19 years in being in Afghanistan. And for the first time, they're talking about settling. They're talking about making an agreement. And we bring our people back home. If that happens, we'll see what happens. But they're in very serious negotiations for the first time. There's a reason for that. So I think we're doing so well on a foreign policy basis. You look at North Korea. Many of you are going to be traveling with us to North Korea. And for the meetings with North Korea, we're going to a certain location. I think most of you know where the location is. I don't think it's any great secret, but we'll be announcing the location and the date, the exact date. It'll be the end of February. And we've made tremendous progress with North Korea. When I came in, or let's say at the end of the last administration, frankly, it looked like we were going to war with North Korea. Now, there's no missile testing, there's no rocket testing, there's no nuclear testing. We got back our prisoners or our hostages, and we're getting back our remains. They're coming in. And we've had some beautiful ceremonies in Hawaii, other places. So I just tell you that we are doing really well. Our military is being rebuilt. It's very close to being rebuilt. Tremendous amounts of new aircraft, new ships, new weapons of all kinds, which we need, because hopefully the stronger we get, the less you have to use it. I guess you know that from growing up in school. The stronger we are, the less we're going to have to use it. We don't want to have to use it, but we're going to have the strongest military by far that we've ever had. So I didn't see the report from the intelligence. When you read it, it's a lot different than it was covered in the news. But I think that Iran is a nation that we have to watch very closely. They sent up a rocket the other day, and it failed, but it was sent up. Now, they can say they're sending it up for civilian purposes, but I don't think too many people believe that. They're doing tests, and we don't want to be in a position where we're behind. We're not going to be leading from behind anymore. So that's the story. I have great respect for a lot of people, but I don't always agree with everybody. Okay? So it's great. Well, we're going to go into everything. You probably saw this morning I put out a statement. We're going into everything. This isn't going to be a small deal with China. This is either going to be a very big deal, or it's going to be a deal that we'll just postpone for a little while. But we've been dealing with China. We've had a great relationship. I have a great relationship with President Xi. The relationship of my people to Chinese representatives has been very good. They're negotiating now. They'll be coming over here at about 4 o'clock. And we'll be talking to actually one of the top leaders in China, as you know. I think that probably the final deal will be made, if it's made, will be made between myself and President Xi. But we're certainly talking about theft. We're talking about every aspect of trade with a country. And we're talking about fentanyl, too. As you know, most of the fentanyl, which is killing 80,000 Americans a year, it comes through China. And in China, it was not criminalized. And they've agreed to criminalize fentanyl and give it the maximum penalty. The maximum penalty in China, if you're selling drugs, is death. It's the death penalty. And they've agreed to do the death penalty for selling fentanyl. And if it's shipped to the United States, that would be a very severe penalty. So I think it's going to have a tremendous impact. We put that one item into the trade deal, the fentanyl. I think it's a very important item to put in. But they've agreed they've agreed, and agreed very readily, we really appreciate it, to criminalize the sale of fentanyl. Steve?
You think you'll make the March 1 deadline?
I don't know. I mean, it's, I can tell you there's a lot of people are working. What happens, we're charging large tariffs to Chinese products that are coming in, which hurts China. As you know, you saw the reports. Out of the 25 points, we're paying for 4 points out of the 25. They're paying for 21. That's a big difference. I've always said that. We're taking in billions of dollars, and frankly, we're creating a lot of industry. But the rate goes from 10% to 25% on March 1st. So they would like to do it, and I'd like to accommodate them if we can. I'd like to accommodate China if we could get the deal done. It's a lot of work because this is a very comprehensive deal. This isn't what we're talking about, you know, they're going to buy some corn and that's going to be it. No, they're going to buy corn. Hopefully they're going to buy lots of corn and lots of wheat and lots of everything else that we have. But they're also talking heavy technology, heavy manufacturing, financial services, and everything else.
So you may have to extend the talk beyond March the 1st. Is that what you're saying, sir?
I think we can do it by March 1st. Can you get it down on paper by March 1st? I don't know. I can say on March 1st, the tariff on China goes to 25%, and that's a big tariff.
Mr. President, State of the Union, just a couple of days away. I'm just curious, what's the tone looking like at the State of the Union, sir? And then I don't know if you've seen, Democrats have tapped the rebuttal speech, Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor of Georgia. Any thoughts on their pitch, sir, or any message?
Oh, I campaigned against Stacey Abrams. I know that President Obama campaigned for her, Michelle Obama campaigned for her, and Oprah campaigned for her. And all Brian had was me. And he won fairly easily, fairly easily. So I hope that she does a good job. I mean, I respect her. I don't know her. I haven't met her, but I hope she does a good job.
And the tone for your speech, sir, can you tell us how the state?
I think it's unification. I think it's industry. I think it's about the people that you see right here. It's also working with these people because they've been incredible. We have had some incredible report, and we've had incredible Republican support. The problem is the Democrats, when they say we don't want to build, as an example, we don't want to build a wall because it doesn't work or because it's immoral. Well, it's also immoral, the people that come into our country that shouldn't be here and kill people. That's immoral too. That's a lot more immoral. So, but I really think it's going to be a speech that's going to cover a lot of territory, but part of it's going to be unity. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Nancy Pelosi said this morning that there is not going to be a wall in this deal, but she did say she'd be open to other kinds of physical barriers. Would you accept that?
No, because if there's no wall, it doesn't work. She's just playing games. So if there's no wall, it doesn't work. And we're building the wall right now. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, but we have a lot of wall under construction. We've given out a lot of contracts over the last 3-4 weeks, good contracts. A lot of wall is soon going to be under construction. We're finishing up design on certain areas, the most important areas, the Rio Grande area and others. We are building a lot of wall. I'm not waiting for this committee. And I've told a lot of people, I don't expect much coming out of the committee because I keep hearing the words that we'll give you what you want, but we're not going to give you a wall. And the problem is, if they don't give us a wall, it doesn't work. Without a wall, it doesn't work. We have caravans right now coming up from Honduras, who we give a lot of money to, which is stopping, by the way. But we pay hundreds of millions of dollars to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. And then they have caravans leaving their country coming up here. And by the way, if you go to Tijuana and you take down that wall, you will have so many people coming into our country that Nancy Pelosi will be begging for a wall. She'll be begging for a wall. She will say, Mr. President, please, please give us a wall. It'd be very interesting. Some people have suggested, let me take the wall along California. Let's move it to Arizona. Let's move it to Texas. And it'll be a very interesting statement about Nancy. So in California, they wanted the wall built in San Diego so badly. And we built it. And probably I should have waited. Because as soon as it was finished, they started screaming, we don't want a wall, we don't want a wall. But they wanted the wall so badly. And by the way, it worked. Nobody's getting through. But the minute it was built, they started saying, we don't want a wall. without a wall, it doesn't work. It's very simple. I mean, I'm not saying this as a Republican. I'm not saying it as anything other than a fact statement. Without a wall, it just doesn't work.
Mr.
Yes.
President, Mr. President, after listening to the hardship from many federal government workers, as well as those contractors and who relied on the federal government employees' finances to fund their businesses, are you willing to jeopardize the economy again, and also your presidency with people who are fearful of another government shutdown over this law?
So,
and also,
yeah.
I want to ask you about Jesse Smollett. Have you heard about that story? The Chicago situation, the actor from Empire who was allegedly attacked with racist and homophobic.
That I can tell you is horrible. I've seen it last night. I think that's horrible. It doesn't get worse, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the people are concerned, many of those people wanted me to stay out, but I didn't want to do it because people were getting hurt. What I think is the worst sin of all is the fact that we're allowing people to come into this country and sell drugs and human traffic and do all of these horrible things, that if we had the simplicity of a well-constructed, beautiful barrier or wall, they wouldn't be able to come into our country. That, to me, is the great sin. And everybody knows it works. I watched this morning, early in the morning, somebody trying to justify walls are immoral. I mean, if walls are immoral, maybe we should take down all the walls that are built right now. You will see a mess like you've never seen before. So I only say this. I was elected partially on this issue. Not as much as people say, but partially on this issue. This is a very important issue. Nothing to do with elections, nothing to do with votes, only to do with common sense and only to do with security. And if we don't put up a barrier or wall, a strong one, but one that looks good. In the old days, they used to build them, they looked terrible. Now we build them, they look really good. If we don't put up a physical barrier, you can forget it. Our country is going to be a very unsafe place. People are coming in, drugs are coming in, human trafficking is coming in, which is so horrible. Things are happening that won't happen after the wall is constructed. So we're building a lot of wall. We're building new sections starting in about 2 weeks. We're building some brand new sections, large sections, and the wall is getting built. I would like to build it even faster, but it's getting built, and it's getting built very substantially, as some of you see because you've been there. Yeah, please.
I have an immigration question, but first if I could just clarify what something you said about North Korea. Do you have an agreement with North Korea on the time and place for that next summit?
Yes.
Can you share it?
Yeah, we're going to very soon. We're going to announce it pretty soon. We'll be announcing it early next week.
Okay, and you also said that...
And they very much want the meeting, and I think they really want to do something. We'll see, but I think they really want. But again, remember, North Korea was a whole different story. When I came to office, many people thought we were going to war with North Korea. I would sit and listen, and I would read people saying, go to war with North Korea. Well, you'd lose, I mean, potentially hundreds of millions of lives. You know, Seoul has 30 some odd million people, and it's literally right off their wall, by the way. But that wall works, I can tell you.
About the wall, you just said that people make that out to be a bigger deal on your election than you think it was.
Well, it was one of my points.
People say
Yeah.
that was the biggest...
Well, they do. Now they say it's a wall because I've accomplished practically everything else. Look, I accomplished the military. I accomplished the tax cuts. I accomplished the regulation cuts. I accomplished so much. The economy is the #1 economy in the world. We're the #1 economy in the whole world. We're the #1, not even close. Companies are pouring into our country. I've accomplished so much. So now they say, oh, if he doesn't get the wall, they make that the only issue. But it's not going to work because I'm building the wall. The wall's happening right now. Okay?
Are you, the government's been reopened for several days now. Are you closer or farther apart on an immigration deal now than since you opened the government?
With respect to the committee,
Yes, sir.
I would say we're the same. Because I'm hearing they don't want to do a wall for political reasons. I actually think it's bad politics. I mean, frankly, I think them fighting us on what everybody knows has to be done to have proper security. And you can add the other things. But the other things only really work if you have the physical barrier. Without the physical barrier, you just, well, what are you going to have? Drones flying over to 12,000 people? You're going to have a nice drone flying, doing circles around the 12,000 people that are walking in from Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador. No, you don't want that. So I want to do real things, like the deal with China. I want it to be a real deal. I could do a deal with China where people would say, isn't that wonderful? It's not wonderful. I have to do the real deal. We have to open up China. We're open to them. They have to be open to us. So it'd be so easy for me to make a deal with China, but it wouldn't be a real deal. I could get them to buy more corn than they've ever bought and more soybeans than they've ever bought, and they'd be so happy if I did that. But they're going to do that, but in even higher numbers, but we're going to do a lot of other things. And just remember, we are taking in billions and billions of dollars from China. We never took in 10 cents from China. China's being charged tremendous amounts of money for the privilege of coming in and doing what they do to our country. They're being charged a tremendous amount of money. And we're going to make a deal. I think we're going to make a deal with China. But it's going to be a very comprehensive deal. We're going to cover everything, okay?
On the economy, you mentioned all the economic indicators are going up. Why then are U.S. deficits and the national debt increasing at a time when...
Well, the trade deals won't kick in for a while. You know, number one, the USMCA hasn't even been approved yet. It has to go before Congress and get approved. Now, it should get approved quickly. NAFTA was one of the worst deals ever made. During the campaign, I said I will either terminate NAFTA or negotiate a new deal. And we negotiated a good deal. Now, if you went back to pre-NAFTA, that would be frankly okay with me, pre-NAFTA or the New Deal, but I won't allow NAFTA. NAFTA was a horrible deal for this country. You look at the scars all over our country where you go to New England, you go to Ohio, you go to Pennsylvania, you see what happened in North Carolina. You have factories that are still empty from what happened with NAFTA. NAFTA was a horrible deal. The USMCA is a great deal. But pre-NAFTA, we had huge surpluses with Mexico. With NAFTA, we have huge deficits. We lose $100 billion a year on trade with Mexico. Does that sound good? And this has been going on for many years. So I stopped it. I stopped it a lot.
One more on the wall. You said the wall is being basically held hostage for political reasons by the Democrats. Is there anything you would have done differently in the first 2 years?
No, there's nothing. Look, they had this from me. Yeah,
Nancy
could I have done it differently? No, not really. I mean, I think by having the shutdown, we've set the table for where we are now. If I didn't do the shutdown, people wouldn't know, they wouldn't understand the subject. Now they understand the subject. They realize what a humanitarian crisis it is. It's called, like in deal making, setting the table, or, you know, setting a stage. We've set the stage for what's going to happen on the 15th of February. I don't think they're going to make a deal. I see what's happening. They're all saying, oh, let's do this, but we're not giving one dime for the wall. That's okay. But if they're not going to give money for the wall, it's not going to work. And if it's not going to work, then the politicians are really wasting a lot of time. Okay.
If there's no money.
I would do that. Yeah. I would do that. We have money, just so you understand. We have money. We're building the wall right now, a lot of it. People don't know that, and nobody reports it, but that's okay, because it's not very exciting when you say it's built. You know, but let me just tell you, we're building the wall right now. It's going up fairly rapidly. We're renovating tremendous amounts of wall, which is good stuff that's in very bad shape with massive holes in it and fencing coming down. It's being beautifully renovated. In some cases, we have to replace it. We renovate some, we replace some, we build some new. But the wall is going up right now in all different forms. Thank you very much, everybody.
Let's go, make your way out. Let's go, we're finished.
What's holding you back from declaring national emergency?
Thank you.
We're going to see what happens on February 15th.
Are you
Thank you,
concerned
April.
about,
Reg, let's
Thank you,
go.
April.
We get
are you
sued?
concerned about legal challenges?
No, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned.
You still don't think there's gonna be a deal, but you're not gonna declare it now. Don't you think that
No,
undermines?
I'm waiting, excuse me, I didn't say it. I said I'm waiting till February 15th. On February 15th, the committee will come back. And if they don't have a wall, I don't even want to waste my time reading what they have, because it's a waste of time. Because the only thing that works for security and safety for our country is a wall. Now, when you couple the wall with sensors and drones and all of these other things, that works as a combination. But if you don't have a wall, they're all just wasting their time. It's just politics. Thank you all very much.
Reg, let's go, make your way out.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.